Prime Minister, over the weekend, President Trump tweeted out that 4 women members of Congress should go back to the countries they came from. Your counterpart in the UK, Prime Minister May, has denounced them as being highly inappropriate. Wondering what you thought of the comments and whether you considered them to be racist.
I think Canadians and indeed people around the world know exactly what I think about those particular comments. That is not how we do things in Canada. A Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, and the diversity of our country is actually one of our greatest strengths and a source of tremendous resilience and pride for Canadians, and we will continue to defend that.
That's not how we do things in Canada. And this is from the mouth of Justin Trudeau after a tweet by Trump. So let's cover this article because I just can't help myself. This is like the low-hanging fruit, you know. It's just too easy to go after this one. I could do this in my sleep. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's not how we do things in Canada. Trudeau stops short of calling Trump's tweet racist. The US president tells Congresswomen to go back to their families' countries of origin. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today denounced tweets sent by the US President Donald Trump over the weekend that told a series of first-term congresswomen of diverse ethnic backgrounds to go back to their countries of origin rather than tell the US politicians how America should be governed. Trump's tweet on Sunday ignited a political firestorm. Okay, so let's check out these tweets that ignited this political firestorm. If you actually follow Donald Trump, this is the kind of stuff he puts out all the time, and I just love it. So this is from at Real Donald Trump. So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe, the worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, if they even have a functioning government at all. Now loudly and viciously telling people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, then come back to show us how it is done? These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out the free travel arrangements. Oh my God, every tweet, I love him more. Okay, so, and then of course the Canadian government has to go and use that as an opportunity to virtue signal against Donald Trump. What they're trying to do is to, again, label Donald Trump as a racist, and it's completely failing because pretty much everybody now knows that isn't like completely brainwashed, knows that Donald Trump is definitely not a racist. But this is a virtue signaling attempt, and the word racist has been used so many times to describe pretty much anybody who just isn't in total agreement with what the establishment will say, like the mainstream media or the Democrats, or in Canada, the Liberal Party. If you go against that, it is essentially you're being called a racist. It doesn't even matter what you say. Just by being white now, you're called a racist. It's absolutely insane. So the word has entirely lost all meaning in a real sense, and it's a real shame. Like, let me be serious for a second here. That's a real shame because there are actual victims of true racism. And now it's a shame because these liberals, these Democrats have gone and completely diluted the word to the point where we don't even use it correctly anymore. And it has come to lose all meaning. There is no meaning to it. So you use racist, people just kind of scuff it off as like, yeah, whatever, it's an overreaction. And it's a shame. It's a shame because now what are the real victims of racism going to do? So, okay, so back to this whole situation where, you know, Trudeau took the opportunity to completely virtue signal because he can't help himself. And he goes with this article and says, you know, that's not how we do things in Canada. So let's understand Donald Trump's tweet in context. So the women he's kind of targeting with that tweet, Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim originally, she was born in Somalia. I think she's the only one of the group of women he's going after that was not born here in the United States. See, I say here in the United States, like I really wish I was a United States citizen. I'm Canadian, and I'm so envious of you guys down in the States. But anyway, so Ilhan Omar, AOC, which is Alexandria Cortez or AOC, Alexandria or Octavia, whatever the hell her name is. I don't even care. I should know this, but I really don't remember her middle name because I just call her AOC all the time. Her and Rashida something. Anyways, what's happening with these women is they're first-term congresswomen. And they're kind of making a fool of themselves and at the same time taking down the entire Democratic Party, specifically AOC, Alexandria. She's the worst. But what's happening is they are completely trashing the United States at every opportunity they get. So the United States is too racist, is too white for them. They keep referring to themselves as people of color. And they're the ones that constantly bring race into this whole game. Like, it's not even the citizens of the US, it's not even the general public. It's these first-term congresswomen who keep bringing up the race card because it's the only thing they have going for them. They don't say anything of substance. Ilhan Omar was caught lying and propagating very, very bad things about 9/11. And then on top of that, she has some racist anti-Semitic tweets herself out there. And she's never really had to apologize for any of that. AOC is a socialist, and this is why Donald Trump hates her so much, because she is trying to bring about communism in the United States. All of them want no borders. And they want no wall. So they think that anybody has the right to come into the United States, claim asylum, and become a United States citizen, and that the United States citizens who are currently there paying taxes owe it to these illegal people to just pay for all their stuff. So housing and food stamps and healthcare, dentist, you name it. These women are of the opinion that it is the duty of Americans to do that. But most Americans who actually pay taxes don't want to have to pay, on top of paying for all the infrastructure and everything they have to pay for in their own state, don't want to have to additionally pay for illegal immigration. So this is why Donald Trump is so against them, because these women keep trashing the US all the time. It's relentless and it's annoying. And this has nothing to do with race. Donald Trump just said in his tweets, look, if you don't like it here, why don't you go back where you came from and make it better there? You seem to hate the United States. Why are you here? This is like the essence of Donald Trump's tweet, not that you're a racist. So anyways, that's about the tweet. Now getting back to Justin Trudeau and his eternal virtue signaling, opportunity grabbing, he said that that's not how we do things in Canada. So I'm going to take a few moments to tell you how it is that we do things in Canada according to Justin Trudeau. So, in Canada, how we do things is our Prime Minister can grope a reporter and then completely forget about it when he's called out on it. In addition, our Prime Minister says a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, essentially meaning that anybody in a world is considered a Canadian if they want to be. And unless you're a white Canadian who's questioning his policies, then you're not a Canadian. You're a racist.
Moi, je veux savoir quand vous allez nous remettre les 146 millions qu'on a payés pour vos immigrants illégaux.
OK. Madame.
C'est nous autres qui avons payé pour ça.
Intolérance par rapport aux immigrants, ça n'a pas sa place au Canada. Cette intolérance par rapport aux immigrants.
In Canada, how we do things is that our Prime Minister uses our tax dollars to pay for terrorists that have killed our fellow American Army generals. Omar Khadr, whatever. He got a whole bunch of money for essentially killing a medic that was in the U.S. Army, the U.S. Armed Force. In Canada, how we do things is that we use taxpayer money to go out and bail out companies like Bombardier, and we cover up other companies for some of the crimes and illegalities that they do. And in Canada, how we do things is that we have a Prime Minister who's more concerned about how he looks on the international scene than actually securing and protecting Canadian interests on the international scene.
Feeling like a freak on a leash. Feeling like I have no release. How many times have I felt diseased? Nothing in my life is free.
Oh, and in Canada, how we do things, we're not even a country because we're a post-national state. And in Canada, how we do things is we are more interested in protecting returning ISIS fighters by providing them poetry and rehabilitating them in society than we are about the actual security of other Canadian citizens. In Canada, we take our citizens' tax dollars and hand it over to the most corrupt governments on the planet, like Pakistan and Iran. In Canada, we don't care about your qualifications because we are going to assign you a position based on your gender. And in Canada, we are indoctrinating our kids in the LGBT movement and making it so that they are utterly confused by the time they are 5. And if you want to avoid forced treatment, the government has given itself permission to come and take your child away from you so they can force gender reassignment surgery and chemical castration on your child without your consent before your child reaches the age of 18. That's how we do things in Canada. In Canada, we introduce Sharia blasphemy laws because we're some kind of an Islamic country all of a sudden. And how we do things in Canada is that if you defend yourself against a home intruder that came into your house unannounced, uninvited, and you don't know him, you kill him, well, you're gonna go to jail because self-defense is like too extreme for Canada. That's how we do things in Canada. Oh, and by the way, the name I couldn't think of earlier, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. See? Nailed it. Nailed it. Sometimes my brain just needs a little bit of time to process things and then I'm all good. So there you go. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So there we go. Okay, on to the next one. And in Canada, we like to put illegal immigrants in hotels while our homeless people are sleeping in the streets, and we just don't have enough money for our veterans because they're asking more than we can offer. So there you have it, guys. This is how we do things in Canada, according to our Prime Minister.
ISIL or ISIS members coming into a reintegration program. You did a backdoor deal with Omar Khadr with not even stepping into the courtroom. You know, so again, my question is, what veterans were you talking about? Was it the ones that fought for the freedoms and values that you so proudly boast about, or was it the ones who fought against? Because honestly, Mr. Prime Minister, I was prepared to be injured in the line of duty when I joined the military. Nobody forced me to join the military. I was prepared to be killed in action. What I wasn't prepared for, Mr. Prime Minister, is Canada turning its back on me. So which veteran was it that you were talking about?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your passion and your strength and being here today to share this justifiable frustration and anger with me and with all of us here. Thank you for having the courage to stand here, and thank you for listening to my answer. on a couple of elements you brought up. First of all, why are we still fighting against certain veterans groups in court? Because they're asking for more than we are able to give right now.